Hello and namaskar, everyone. So, continuing in the series of giving you my understanding of core concepts of Hindu Sanatan Dharma. Yesterday, I kind of laid out the broad context for core understanding or foundational understanding of Sanatan and Hindu Dharma. Today, one of its key precepts of that Hindu and Sanatan thought is the whole idea of karma and rebirth. So I'm going to just stay focused on karma and rebirth. You can listen to my talk from yesterday, which I'll classify as part one. This will be part two. So in this whole series, I'll go from part one, two, and so on and so forth. So my understanding of karma and rebirth, and I have, spent lots of time in sort of deep diving into it and developing my own spiritual understanding, intellectual understanding, and sort of just to kind of imbibe that concept in my day-to-day life. And then whenever something happens to you, you always try to, logically, in conscious and subconscious mind, trying to rationalize it from that framework of karma and rebirth. So there is a very core concept in Sanskrit is called as prarabdha that's used in Sanatani thought and Hindu thought. And it's a Sanskrit word that I'm trying to describe it in English is very hard. You can say it's almost like it's a basket of your past actions that you accumulate over multiple lifetimes. And then when you take birth in this lifetime, you're born with that basket of karmas. And they are like the starting triggers for various activities that will happen in your life. And whatever was the balance left of your previous lifetime karmas, whether it's positive or negative, their outcomes you sort of reap the reward in this lifetime. Now, a karma is just a karma. There is no such thing as good or bad attached to it. It's like as saying you plant a mango seed in the ground, it will give you mangoes. You plant a thorny plant, it will give you thorns. Now nature does not differentiate between a mango and thorn. For nature, for universe, for the dharma, it's just whatever you planted, it manifests. All the plants, whether it's a mango plant or a thorny plant, cactus, they consume the same 5 core elements of existence. They take the heat from the sun, wind, from the wind breeze that's blowing, water that's available to them, and earth, whatever is in minerals that are available in the soil, and then themselves, the fifth one, the sky, the space. So all these 5 elements are common across every form of existence. Let's just limit ourselves to earth, but it can be applied to any planet or cosmic body where the life takes birth or life takes shape. I'll talk about the definition of life as well in one of the subsequent videos. So just limiting ourselves to karma, rebirth, and so the idea of prarabdha is it's a basket of, you can assume, as the seeds that you're born with that have been planted in your many lifetimes, and whatever trees you planted in your lifetime, the karmic trees, if you planted a cactus, you're going to reap the thorns and cactus fruit. If you planted mangoes, you are going to reap the mango fruit. Now, why I totally trust in it, live in it, breathe in it, because this is the only intellectual and spiritual framework that kind of gives you the rationality behind all the humans are born on this earth. Why are some born in Africa? Why are some born in Asia? Why are some born in Europe? Why are some born in a different continent? Where does this geographical diversity comes from? Then you can also classify, and I might be using a lot of engineering and software terms, but just to kind of make it a little bit easier to explain. You can also look at where does this classification of all the diversity that we see in the existence. Some are born in a very rich family, Prince William, Prince Charles. Some are born as Manish Tyagi, some are born as, somebody else. So various, you can say, the diversity around the wealth, the diversity around why are some born in some faith, the others are born in other faith. So every imaginable diversity, how does it, what creates it, where does this origination of diversity happens? One explanation that intellectual and spiritually that satisfies this eagerness to know is the framework of prarabdha, karma, and rebirth. Any of the Abrahamic religions, none of them kind of gives you a very satisfying explanation of why are some people born in a certain family, in a certain geography, with a certain handicap, with a certain wealth, and with a certain attitude, and so on and so forth. Now, science tries to kind of gives you the explanation from genetic and so on and so forth. But that whole genetic explanation describes your physiological existence, but it does not describe your atmic existence, your existence of the soul, which science is trying to classify as consciousness, but consciousness doesn't, sort of imbibe the richness of the word Atman, the Sanskrit word Atman. Now, where does this Atman, what is Atma? And Atma is something जीव जिसने ये शरीर धारण किया हुआ है. तो अगर कल के मैं वीडियो से जोड़ूं तो जो परमात्मा है, जो सच्चिदानंद है, जब उसकी एक एनर्जी फॉर्म, बहुत ही मिनिस्क्यूल पार्टिकल फॉर्म, समझ लीजिए आप, बहुत ही मिनिस्क्यूल फॉर्म में, व्हेन इट स्टार्ट्स टू वाइब्रेट एंड सॉर्ट ऑफ लाइट्स अप दिस पर्टिकुलर जीवा और बॉडी, तब वो ईश्वर बन जाता है, आत्मा बन जाता है. वही परमात्मा आत्मा बन के इस शरीर से अपनी ही सारी कायनात को भोग रहा है. सो इन इंग्लिश इफ आई हैव टू पुट इट, इज दैट अ पार्ट ऑफ द सेम सुप्रीम बीइंग manifests itself as Manish Tyagi, enjoys its multi-varied existence that's available to Manish Tyagi across the planets, across universe, and sort of starts that interplay जिसको रास लीला कहा है, जिसको लीला कहा है. तो एक बहुत ही न्यूट्रल फॉर्म में तो आप ये भी सोच सकते हैं कि ये सब अगर रास लीला है जिसको भगवान भोग रहे हैं, भगवान ही पैदा कर रहे हैं और भगवान ही चला रहे हैं, तो फिर इसका टोटल सम इज प्लस माइनस ज़ीरो है, राइट? सो दैट्स वेयर द होल आइडिया ऑफ सिंगुलैरिटी एंड यूनिटरी element that we talked yesterday comes in. And just to kind of have this existence and interplay as a Ras Leela, he had to create, the Supreme Being had to create the consciousness, the dharma of this existence had to create a notion of karma and rebirth. So that just like in a play, you go to see a play, there are scenes that take place from one scene to the other, curtain comes and goes, but the scene continues. The actors, they keep performing various roles within that same play, but across multiple scenes. So a lifetime or many lifetime is just like same actor, which is the Atman, playing a role across multiple lifetimes, and the total play could be hundreds of lifetimes, could be many number. Now, how an actor's role would germinate and where it would end would depend on his intensity of karmas, his evolution of the Atman, where the day it becomes perfect itself, that it blends itself in the original Satchidanand and doesn't have to, sort of provide an existence to or creation to another jiva like Manish Tyagi. So Manish Tyagi might have started as somebody else in previous lifetime and so on and so forth, might go up to, let's say, n minus 50 and minus 100. Over his accumulated prarabdha, जिसको संचित कर्म भी कहा है, as the jiva has evolved into a better and better and better being. Now, the whole classification of what is good and what is bad, also, if you think from Satchidanand's perspective, it doesn't matter. For him, everybody is equal. Everybody partakes in every element of his creation that is made available to them, which are combinations of basically 5 core elements, Surya, Vayu, Prithvi, आकाश और जल, और इन सब के इंटरप्ले से ही सब चल रहा है, और वो सबको बराबर प्रोवाइड करता है। और कौन सा जीव उसको कैसे भोगता है डिपेंड्स ऑन हिज संचित कर्मास। कौन सा जीव इस प्ले में कैसा रोल अदा कर रहा है, इट डिपेंड्स अपॉन हाउ ही इम्प्रूव्स और हाउ ही मूव्स द स्टोरी फॉरवर्ड एज एन एक्टर इन दिस इंटरप्ले और रास लीला। एंड माई अंडरस्टैंडिंग दैट आई हैव डेवलप्ड दैट देयर इज़ नो गुड जीव और बैड जीव। कोई आदमी बुरा नहीं है और अच्छा नहीं है। हर इंसान, एवरी लिविंग बीइंग इज जस्ट फिनिशिंग और playing the role that he has been given or designed for him at the time of his birth. And that's where, if you read Mahabharata, this concept of dharma and karma and rebirth comes again and again, and it's a wonderful, everybody should read that book, because that really helps you to sort of develop your own understanding of karma and rebirth, not what somebody has given it to you or something that you have read somewhere. But once you read it, you constantly regurgitate it, and you try to find that essence of it till it becomes part of you, till it goes into your soul. So for me, whatever my karmas were, or when I say mine, I'm using this body as me or this jiva, not I as Satchidananda. I as Satchidananda is enlightening or empowering this me that has limited itself to the identification with this body, mind and heart. And the empowering energy, or the battery that's operating these three, mind, body and my heart, is the jiva. And jiva is just a small energy element of the larger Satchidananda. Hope you are able to visualize it and connect it. For me, I'm a very visual person, so I have this visual model of whatever I'm talking to you about. And in सब के डिटेल्स आपको श्रीमद् भागवत में भी मिलते हैं, सभी पुराणों में भी मिलते हैं, उपनिषदों में तो खैर इनका भी कोर आता है, और मैं उस पर भी बात करता जाऊंगा। ये सीरीज़ प्रॉब्ली हंड्रेड्स ऑफ वीडियोस की बनेगी, आप चिंता मत करिए। जस्ट स्टिक विद वन कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ इन वन वीडियो। सो दिस कर्मा, रीबर्थ एंड प्रारब्ध, ये तीनों ये मॉडल को डिस्क्राइब कर रहे हैं। अब आप कहेंगे कि कौन सा कर्म ऐसा होता है कि that lasts you within a lifetime, कौन सा कर्म ऐसा होता है that goes inter lifetimes, and which is the karma that goes across multiple lifetimes. So उसमें एक स्टोरी है, श्रीमद् भागवत में आती है और महाभारत में भी आती है। Hopefully I can explain this through that story, that when Bhishma gets injured and he's lying on the shayya of the various बाणों की शैया पे भगवान श्री भीष्म पितामह लेटे हुए हैं और भगवान कृष्ण उनसे मिलने आते हैं। आई हैव टू टेल दिस स्टोरी इन हिंदी। इन इंग्लिश probably it won't be do the justification, even though I'll switch between the two for everybody. So Bhishma is lying on the arrows, the bed of arrows, and arrows are pricking him across the body. Krishna, being the supreme being, and you can say he's probably the ultimate refined person at a consciousness level who can see across lifetimes, and has the ability to be at a height where he can see not just time and space existence at one point, but time and space existence across all points of time and space. So he's beyond time and space. You can just kind of explaining it from the concept of theoretical physics. So when Krishna asks Bhishma, Bhishma asks Krishna that why am I suffering so much, that my body is suffering so much. Bhishma himself was a very highly evolved person, and Bhishma was blessed with the blessing that he can release his soul when he feels like. So he wanted to release his soul in Uttarayan, when the sun moves to the northern hemisphere. And I'll come to the story why sun in southern hemisphere, northern hemisphere, what does it really mean? So he asks Krishna that, oh Lord, why am I suffering this pain of lying on the bed of arrows? Because I can see up to 3 lifetimes in the past that I have not done any of those karmas that would give me this output or this result that I'm suffering now. So Lord Krishna replies to him, भगवान कृष्ण उनको कहते हैं कि 7 जन्म पहले, 7 lifetimes prior to this lifetime, you were a king, and once you went for hunting, and as you were returning from from your hunt, you saw a snake crossing your path, and you were full of pride and sort of can say ego and arrogance at that time, that how can a snake, be lying in the path of a king. So you picked up that snake with an arrow and you flipped him. She flew all along and lied on a thorny bush, and the thorns pricked her all over, and she couldn't move for a long time, the number of days that you are going to be lying on this bed of arrows. And she died very slowly by the oozing of the blood. So the result of that action of yours was so intense that it took 7 lifetimes to manifest, because every situation had to be perfect for that outcome of that action of yours to be felt. Now that brings up this whole concept of ki whatever we are doing today in mind, body and spirit, we are planting seeds of these karmas or actions. Whatever have been happening in our lifetime, since you take birth until you die, is basically the result of those actions. Now, you must have seen, and everybody has experienced that, and that you go somewhere in a very strange country, like I've come to America 30 years ago. You meet some people that look very familiar to you. You get along with some people. You don't get along with some people. You need some help. Suddenly the help appears. And you can a lot of people call it coincidence. A lot of people call it, oh, I'm like this, so I get along with this, and so on and so forth. But nothing happens by accident. As someone said, that universe doesn't take chances. Universe and dharma does not roll dice. It has built a framework of existence, and a whole idea of spirituality is to understand that framework of existence and sort of जिसको कहते हैं धर्म ज्ञान. And understanding dharma is nothing else but understanding this framework of existence. And once you understand this framework of existence, then you can live harmoniously with this. And इसी को कहते हैं धर्म में रहना, इसी को कहते हैं धर्म नीति. So धर्म को समझना, फिर धर्म के उसूलों के हिसाब से चलना और जीना, so you can live a peaceful, harmonious life, non-conflicting in mind, body and spirit. And उसी को कहते हैं कि ये आदमी धर्म के साथ जीता है, ये आदमी धर्म से जीता है. And the whole story of Mahabharata is nothing else but through various characters, and some very intense, some very shallow, some very complex, and with all subtleties and all shades of humanity that you can see, are basically giving you a lesson of every situation that a man or a woman or a child or an old person will face in their lifetime, and then how to understand this framework of existence called dharam, and then how to take lessons from it, imbibe in you, understand this framework of existence, and then live with it. तो उसी में फिर ये आ जाता है कि आप अब धर्म को समझिए. तो धर्म क्या है? जो एग्जिस्टेंस है, जो कायनात है, फिजिकल, नॉन फिजिकल, एट ए मेंटल लेवल, एट ए थॉट लेवल, एट ए स्पिरिचुअल लेवल, एट ए कॉन्शियसनेस लेवल, उसका जो पूरा तंत्र है, उसको आप जितने सटल तरीके से समझ पाएंगे, फिर उतने ही सटल तरीके से इस समाज, देश, इंसान, दुनिया इसके साथ रह सकते हैं. अब उसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि आपका फिर समझ में आ गया, आपको धर्म का ज्ञान हो गया कि आपकी अब ज़िंदगी एकदम स्मूथ हो जाएगी. ऐसा नहीं है कि कोई आके, जैसे अब्राहमिक रिलीजन्स कहते हैं दैट यू प्रे टू द लॉर्ड एंड लॉर्ड विल टेक केयर ऑफ थिंग्स. ऐसा नहीं कि आपके जो पुराने संचित कर्म हैं, all the karmas that you have accumulated over many lifetimes, that they will just get wiped out. No. Even Lord himself, whether it's Krishna or Ram, when they have taken birth, when they have lived on this planet, they have faced the karmas. So if you read Ramayana, why Ram was born to, अपने पिता और माता के यहाँ, उसकी भी पीछे से कहानी है. और कई कहानियों के संचित कर्मों के कारण भगवान राम पैदा होते हैं. उसका पूरा एक व्याख्यान है, पूरी एक व्याख्या है कि, और फिर राम ने भी जो 14 वर्ष का वनवास भोगा, जिन को मारा, वो सब भी उनके संचित कर्मों का ही बस फल मिलता जा रहा है सबको. और उस फल को देते हुए आप किस भाव से उसमें एंगेज हो रहे हैं इस लीला में, उससे आपको आगे के फलों का वो होता है. तो जैसे भगवद गीता में भगवान कृष्ण कहते हैं कि आप कर्म करते जाइए और मुझ पे छोड़ते जाइए, फिर आपको इन कर्मों का फल नहीं भोगना पड़ता. वो तब होता है कि जब आपके अंदर वो दृष्टा भाव जग जाता है, कि जब अब आप अपने आप को You don't classify yourself that you are just this body, mind, and brain. You are that Satchidanand Supreme Being who's role playing as you and enjoying this creation. The day you associate yourself and you do that flip of a switch, that you connect with yourself with Satchidanand, identify yourself with Satchidanand, live in that bhav all the time, then the karmas of this interplay of Ras Leela don't as attach to your Jiva or Ishwar. Then you have become Satchidanand. That happens to highly evolved souls, Nanak, Kabir, Meera, Surdas, Ravidas, Jesus Christ, Muhammad. And to get to that point is the entire process of spirituality is. यही बस जो है कि आप उस अवस्था से जुड़ जाइए, उस यूनिटरी पॉइंट ऑफ क्रिएशन से जुड़ जाइए, उस सच्चिदानंद से जुड़ जाइए, उस सिंगुलैरिटी से आइडेंटिफाई अपने आप को करिए, ताकि आपके दिमाग में ये जो सब लीला चल रही है इसको आप मैं ना समझें. तो बेसिकली जिसमें भगवान गीता में बड़े अच्छे से कहते हैं, भगवान बनाए से भगवान कृष्ण, कि कर्म किए जा और फल की इच्छा मत कर. सो बेसिकली व्हाट यू आर सेइंग इज that whatever I'm doing, when you say I, this jiva is doing as a body, or the thought that this mind is thinking, or the emotions that are coming in this heart, is basically a manifestation of some action that is being manifested or empowered by the Satchidananda. So who's the real, sort of entity that's really enjoying the fruit of all this? Is Satchidananda. It's not Jiva. So that's where Bhagavan Krishna is saying that whatever actions you are doing, you leave it up to me. I'll absorb everything, because everything is created out of me. Everything, is absorbed in me. Nothing is left for anyone else. There is no duality. This whole concept of that I am enjoying the fruits of my actions starts in the ड्यूअलिटी प्रिंसिपल, द्वैत में आता है. लेकिन जब आप अपने को अद्वैत से जोड़ लेंगे तो द्वैत बचा ही नहीं. सो देयर इज़ नो ड्यूअलिटी लेफ्ट, बिकॉज यू हैव बिकम सिंगुलैरिटी. व्हेन देयर इज सिंगुलैरिटी, देयर इज नथिंग टू बी डन, नथिंग टू बी रीप्ड. देयर इज, यू हैव नॉट डन एनी एक्शन, you have not reaped any reward, because to create an action and reap the reward, all those things will start to happen only in the dual state, in singular state, in Satchidanand, in the supreme bliss state of mind. There is no action, there is no fruit, there is no sukh, there is no dukh. Existence does not exist at all. Now the whole idea of tantra, mantra, yoga, dhyan, sadhana is to still your mind and heart and body in that singularity and to that supreme consciousness bliss where there are no thoughts. So when mind in meditation, what Buddhists are saying, that once you reach that point of no thought, you have reached shunya, as Buddhist says, shunya. But that's where Advaita, Dvait and Hinduism and Buddhism sort of, there is a little gap there. So Advaita philosopher or Sanatani philosopher say, where is that shunya then is being stabilized? वो शून्य कहाँ पे टिका हुआ है? वो शून्य सच्चिदानंद में टिका हुआ है. वो शून्य अद्वैत भाव में टिका हुआ है. वहाँ तक बुद्धिस्ट भी नहीं जा पाते हैं. और यही फिर यहाँ पे, क्योंकि बुद्धिस्ट एक शाखा है सनातन की, हिंदू धर्म की, तो यहीं पे थोड़ा सा गैप आ जाता है. लेकिन चलिए साहब, अगर आप बुद्धिस्ट भी हैं, आप ध्यान भी करते हैं, अगर आप शून्यता तक भी पहुंच गए, तो फिर से आपके अंदर वो शून्य को जो है ये जिज्ञासा जारी रखेगा कि मैं कौन हूँ. वो शून्य फिर सवाल करेगा अपने आप से, हु एम आई? एंड देन दैट सच्चिदानंद विल रिवील इटसेल्फ टू द शून्य एंड शून्यता कि दिस इज हु यू आर. एंड दैट रेवलेशन इज गोइंग टू बी वेयर two does not exist. Two don't exist. It's not said as one. It's like दो नहीं है, लेकिन क्या है उसको कोई देखने वाला नहीं रह गया अब. क्योंकि जब तक दो हैं तब तक ऑब्जर्वर एंड ऑब्जेक्ट एंड ऑब्जर्वर है. लेकिन when the observer and object have merged into one, there is no one to say, there is nothing to be seen, there is nothing to be felt, it's just only being. It's just you are. Who are you? No one knows, because there is nobody to tell who you are. The mind of a jiva totally subsumes itself and is absorbed in the singularity or unitary. And that's the beauty of, that if you start to hold this principle in your consciousness, in your mind constantly, you start to become a happy person. You start to get away from this concept of sukh, dukh, paisa, ye, wo. You start to go away from duality. And then whatever happens, you start to accept it. It's not easy to hold on to it. It takes probably many lifetimes. But at least start to walk on that path as soon as you can. And how to start this journey and where to start this path, I'll probably make a video tomorrow about it, because there are so many concepts that they all have to holistically come together. For me, it has taken about, I started my journey in 2011 seriously on this path, so it's taken about 9 years. And I still don't feel that I have complete mastery of myself where I can stay at peace no matter what the situation is. I still get rattled. I still get blended into the world. I still get, thrown off the balance. But at least I have sort of come to accept, live, imbibe quite a few of the core principles of dharma, and constantly working on it, constantly refining it, not giving up. That's the whole spiritual practice. Another thing that you will notice is as soon as you latch on to this concept of sanchit prarabdha, sanchit karma, dharma, rebirth, Satchidanand, Jeev, Ishwar, that you will start to enjoy your own company. You will become a little isolated from the world because the world is in you now. Mele mein akela, akele mein mela. And you are equally happy in no matter what the situation is. And no matter what happens, you are able to reconcile things on its own. So dharma has awakened in you. And dharma is now, sort of vibrating. Maybe you call it Kundalini Jagran because it's nothing else but that you start to enjoy the, you start to see through things of existence and rationalize, and then it starts to provide bliss to your soul, starts to provide bliss to your existence. Then money, fame, loss, all these things, yeah, they are important. They stick to you for a while, but you get away from it very, very quickly. You overcome every aspect of life, good or bad. And as I said, good, bad, everything is in duality. The universe exists in duality. And the balance of that dual forces, जिसको राक्षस और देवताओं का जंग कहा जाता है, सब पुराणों में जो कहानियाँ आती हैं, वो उसके बैलेंस में ही ये पूरी कायनात, ये सारी एग्जिस्टेंस रास लीला कर रही है. इसमें अच्छे कर्म, बुरे कर्म, ओवरऑल अगर टोटल एग्जिस्टेंस के लेवल पे देखेंगे वो परफेक्टली बैलेंस्ड हैं. If the good karmas and bad karmas at the universal level go out of balance, this universe will stop existing. This whole thing, your life, your body, plants, trees, earth, ocean, everything exists in balance. And as soon as things start to go off balance, universe finds a way to strike the balance. उसी को देवताओं और राक्षसों की जंग कहा है. देवता और राक्षस और कुछ नहीं है. It's just set of forces that swing from one end to the other, and they're constantly battling, and they're battling at a level of your thought, at a level of your mind, level of consciousness, physical existence across oceans, mountains, sun, moon, earth, star. Everything is existing in harmony and balance, and the forces are constantly balancing it. As soon as you start to see the balance shift, something happens. Now coronavirus has come, a lot of people are dying, nature is becoming clean. Once again, nature is trying to strike balance. Now whether Chinese did it intentionally, unintentionally, China within a scientist, where did that thought come to him to release this? If you start to double click on all this, you will see that it's just universe trying to stay in balance, staying in harmony. It's doing through you, me, it's doing through my dogs, doing through these birds, through these plants, through trees, and this entire existence of dharma and balance is called as one of the ideas or framework to kind of understand this dharma is rebirth, karma, sanchit karma, and so on and so forth. So just wanted to leave it out there. Some great text to read about it is Srimad Bhagavat, Mahabharat, Brahma Sutras, Ramayana, and every one of these mythological texts that come together are basically core and fundamental to explain this, one of the core key principles of Sanatan Dharma, which is rebirth, prarabdha,